Hey everyone, welcome back to the only show that asks you to pull out your chairs, take out your books, and join us at the table. Today we're going to be talking about alchemy. It's a good old-fashioned Pathfinder favorite. In fact, some of you may or may not know this, but alchemy, or the Alchemist, is one of those classes that is unique only to Pathfinder, so it's going to be a lot of fun talking about it. And Rip Psyche just said, faces! Yeah, you got our faces. So, yeah, we're going to be talking about that. And maybe working in a little bit more about the goblin science. And if you decide to check us out for the creation time, we're going to be working with you to create some goblin science of our own. Not Mr. Wizard stuff. I don't have enough room for a baking
I don't know. I
soda
think we could set up a
volcano.
nice little volcano. I got some baking powder in my kitchen. I know, we could kind of do a little something, something.
I was just going to say I don't have enough room for a baking soda volcano, although now I kind of want to make one. But without further ado, let's get introductions going. Mr. Michael Powell, tell them who you are and where they can find you on that sweet, sweet internet.
Well, before that, PJ, do you want to know
Yes.
one of my favorite alchemical brew is?
Is it beer? 'Cause that's mine.
Actually, a good cup of coffee at the table.
Aw, yeah, same. I wish we had at the table brand coffee. Let's pretend we do.
Yeah.
At the
Hey,
table brand coffee.
anybody out there with a tabletop coffee company out there that's looking for to sponsor someone? Hit us up. I know you're out there. I follow some of you guys on Twitch, Twitter.
Oh my God, yeah. No, if you guys make like tabletop role-playing game coffee, I will like put it into my veins. I will mainline that stuff.
Dude.
I'll be like, welcome to Initiative Coffee. You can't start the fight without that coffee bite.
Honestly, that's the first thing we talked about when PJ and we hop on this Zoom chat. What are you drinking? Oh God, I got this awful instant stuff. Oh, I need a new French press. Blah 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 blah. Yada yada.
Absolutely.
But
God.
Anyway.
Yeah, let's get the introductions
Yeah,
going before
yes.
we completely lose track.
Exactly. I'm Michael Powell, and you can find me all over the interwebs on my social medias, which is usually at Mr. Kapow. That's MrKapao. And how about you, PJ?
My name is PJ McGaw. You can find me on the internet at pj.mcgaw. When I'm not here on Tuesdays with Mr. Michael Powell at the table, I'm here Wednesday nights, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for our truly spectacular Pathfinder 2nd Edition homebrew show, Edge of Legend. And as they just got to this major city, they finally ran into one of the 5 generals of the Green Army. And I am so excited at all the crazy things that I've stuck in the city and all the potential that these heroes can do. It's going to be so much fun. And until then, I may have more stuff brewing, but honestly, nothing's set yet. So more on that as it develops. But until then, you can find me PJ.McGaw here. You can find me on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. Twitter is the Mega W. It's my last name. Keep it simple. And yeah, without further ado, let's get started. Going back to the coffee thing really quickly. Rip Psyche says Jacksepticeye got his own brand. Can't be that hard. This inspires me. And when I get inspiration and ambition and just the right amount of connections, I make dumb things happen. So, if Jacksepticeye can do it, why the hell can't I? I'm going to start thinking about coffee brands. Until then, let's talk about the Alchemist, the cornerstone of goblin science, and of course, the most unique class in your Pathfinder core rulebook. And by unique, I mean it only exists in Pathfinder. So, yes, yes, Mr. Michael Powell, what were you going to say?
Oh, I was going to say, do you want to kick it off or should I?
Excuse me. Why don't you kick it off with the fluff and lore and all that really good stuff as I'm finding my place in my book?
Alrighty.
All right.
Well, you know what? This time, I'm going to use attempt my goblin voice.
Oh, yes.
There's no sight more beautiful to you than a strange brew bubbling in a beaker. You consume your ingenious elixirs with abandon. You've fascinated by uncovering secrets of science and natural world, and you've constantly experiment in your lab or go on inventive concoctions for every eventuality. Yes. You are fearless in the face of risk hurling explosives or toxic creations at your foes. Your unique path toward greatness is lined with alchemical brews that push your mind and body to limits.
Oh man,
Yeah, the trick is you don't want to do it in the throat. You want to do it more in the nose,
Yeah.
which is why my goblins tend to get kind of shrill because that's where my nose is. It's a shrill place. So that being said, alchemists are very, very unique. We're gonna get to it later. They can do a lot of really fun stuff. The standard operating procedure for them is potions, bombs, and mutagens. More on that later. Some of you may already know. When we come to them, let's talk about them. That's what we do here, right? But let's get
Yeah.
the first page out of the way. It's pretty standard. Good stuff, but pretty standard. Your key abilities, intelligence, duh. Your hit points are 8 plus Constitution modifier. That's a big upgrade from, I believe, in the Pathfinder 1, and please correct me, chat. I believe it was a D6. So jumping to an 8, these things
D8 is
already...
not too bad, not too shabby. That's honestly that's front line, HP right
Yeah.
there.
It is, and I'm really happy for that. I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens down the road with that. Initial proficiencies, of course, trained in perception, expert in fortitude, expert in reflex, trained in will, which is kind of interesting because I would imagine that. Well, I guess because if they're drinking their potions, fortitude's good for that. Skills, crafting,
Of course.
yes, 100%. And what I love about this class is that besides the gunsmith, crafting is so important to the class. It is both mechanical and fluff, and crafting is such a very underutilized skill in all
Yeah.
games.
Oh,
So I
yeah.
love that they gave that to you.
Honestly, that's one of the reasons at level 3, Rufa finally actually picked up crafting.
Good. Listen, if you as a player ever want to build shit, I'm sorry. Wait. Haha. Okay, we're more than 10 minutes in. If you ever want to build shit, do it. Everyone will love you for it. Like, go ahead and build the things because
Yeah, I mean,
It's-
if you
it's fun.
remember, God, what was it? One of our first few episodes, Rufa had to make a costume for someone.
yeah, you make a
I was not training that skill at all.
and you crit it both times.
Yeah.
So it was like an amazing cosplay. So crafting is awesome, recommend it, but it's got more, 3 plus your intelligence modifier. For a class that is already going to have a high intelligence, this is going to be, I don't want to say a skill monkey, but definitely someone with a good skill
I would say,
library.
honestly, you're on that, was it skill of 1 to 10? You're a 5 there when it comes to skills.
Yeah, like you're going to be doing better than the barbarian or the fighter probably.
But you're not going to do better than the rogue or the investigator.
No. Maynard from the one was saying YouTube sometimes scans the first 10 minutes of stuff. That's right. Yeah, there's a YouTube rule where you're not allowed to curse within the first 10 minutes of it. Otherwise, they get mad, which is dumb because we have not labeled ourselves as, for children. So it's a stupid rule.
Yeah.
But moving on. Attacks. You are trained in simple weapons, unarmed attacks, and alchemical bombs.
This is,
Yes.
I believe, the only class that starts off trained in alchemical bombs. Am I correct?
I believe is the only class that gets training in alchemical bombs, unless they spend like feats to get that.
Because for some reason, I could be totally wrong, but I have a feeling that either inventor or one of the methodologies of of investigator can be tweaked to be trained in that right off the bat.
I think it's possible. I think with the right feat, either general or specific feat from the class, you can. But this is the only class that actually has it because it's part of their class. So moving right along, getting the last few things out of the way, you are trained in light armor and unarmored defense, and you have a class DC of trained at the beginning. That class DC, of course, is going to become very important as you start drinking potions that let you cast spells, or at least that's the traditional alchemist. So very straightforward out the gate. You are a smarty arty. You run the party with your hearty concoctions. But what does that mean exactly? Glad you asked. First level of the features, again, straightforward. Ancestry background, initial proficiencies, as already mentioned. And then you get the big A, alchemy. You understand the complex interactions of natural and unnatural substances and concoct the alchemical items to meet your needs. This requires normal reagents and the craft activity, or you can use special infused reagents that allow you to craft temporary items quickly at no cost. Over time, you can create more and more alchemical items for free. And since each of them becomes more and more powerful, you advance in power dramatically, leaving behind those who don't understand your strange science. You gain the alchemical crafting feat, even if you don't meet the feat's prerequisites, and you gain the 4 common first-level alchemical formulas granted by this feat. This catalog of alchemical items is on page 543, there we go, of your core rulebook. And you can use this feat to create alchemical items as long as you have the formulas. So, right off the bat, the formulas are basically spells known. More on that as it develops, but I know that in Pathfinder 1, what was super dope was that alchemists could learn and steal magic from everyone. But no one could learn an alchemical formula. No one can learn an alchemist spell. That was a really fun little
bonus. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Infused Regents. You infuse regents with your own alchemical essence, allowing you to create alchemical items at no cost. Each day during your daily preparations, you gain a number of batches of infused regents equal to your level plus your intelligence modifier. You can use these regents for either advanced alchemy or quick alchemy described below. Together, these infused regents have light bulk. As soon as you make your next daily preparations, your infused regents from the previous day's preparations are instantly destroyed, and non-permanent effects of your previous day's infused items immediately end. While infused regents are physical objects, they can't be duplicated, preserved, or created in any way other than your daily preparations. Any such artificial regents lack the infusions and are useless for your advanced alchemy or quick alchemy.
So basically, the infused reagents is your spell slots.
Yeah.
If alchemy is your spells known, infused reagents, spell slots. And what's cool is that, kind of like certain divine casters in other games, you're limited only to a set number based upon your level, right? You kind of know whatever you know, but you can prepare anything from that list of whatever you know, of course, relative to your level, but it's put on this very simple, straightforward formula of your level plus your int modifier. Sorry.
If anything, think of it as your regents have a shelf life. It has an expiration date of 1 day. So
That's kind of what I mean. Is that they only last for a day because at the top of the next day you get them back.
It's basically I was gonna say it's basically like the discount food stuff that you buy at markets that's gonna go bad the next day.
Yeah, you don't want to buy turkey. No, turkey lasts. You don't want to
buy
mayonnaise.
dairy.
Yeah.
The expired dairy. No.
Just don't buy dairy. The dairy industry don't need your money. And quite frankly, human anatomy wasn't meant for long-term dairy ingestion anyway. Advanced alchemy. During your daily preparations, after producing new infused regents, whatever, you can spend batches of those infused regents to create infused alchemical items. You don't need to attempt a crafting check to do this, and you ignore both the number of days typically required to create the items and any alchemical reagent requirements. Your advanced alchemy level is equal to your level. For each batch of infused reagents you spend, choose an alchemical item of your advanced alchemy level or lower. That's in your book. And make a batch of 2 of that item. The item has the infused trait and remain potent for 24 hours. So basically, what's cool, and let's put this out there, this is a spellcasting class with a ton of variety.
Yeah.
Now, the alchemy, infused reagents, and advanced alchemy and quick alchemy all basically work on spell slots that function differently. So you get a certain number of spell slots a day equal to level plus int modifier. You have all the spells you know. And then the advanced alchemy basically allows you to cash in a spell slot instead of for like a spell for making 2 of 1 item. So that's really cool. So if you kind of want to be more of like the toolkit alchemist, as opposed to I just gotta pump a bunch of spells. If you really want to make like more unique bombs, more unique traps, 2 for 1, it really is not bad.
Yeah.
Also, quick shout out. Malice 1974, great to see you. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's what is that one quote that basically what is it? It's something along the lines of magic is just science that you don't understand, right?
Yeah, which is why all the goblins are like, it's okay. We've all been dumb one time. You know, it's like we all believed it to be science or
Yeah.
magic. And,
Anyway, moving on.
Mhm.
Quick alchemy. If you need a specific alchemical item on the fly, you can use your Infused Regents to quickly create it with the Quick Alchemy action. And here is the Quick Alchemy action. The cost is one batch of Infused Regents, and the requirements are you have the formula for the alchemical item you're crafting, and you're either holding or wearing alchemical tools. You swiftly mix up a short-lived alchemical item to use at a moment's notice. You create a single alchemical item of your advanced alchemy level or lower that's in your formula book without having to spend the normal monetary costs in alchemical regions or needing to attempt a crafting check. This item has the infused trait, but it remains potent until the start of your next turn.
Yeah, and I really like that about this class, that basically you are the most, I want to say the most flexible caster, but what your flexibility allows you to do is go back and forth between crafting an item with actual combative effect. Like you're not just crafting. Okay, so here's me, and here's how dumb I like to play. So in D&D 3.5, craft checks came with the class. They were mandatory, and they were also that way in Pathfinder First Ed. And I never really invested in it because my characters weren't crafters. So since it was mandatory, the thing that I would craft is little wooden reindeer. And that is a direct reference to Courage the Cowardly Dog, when the robot killer from outer space, voiced by a bad Christopher Walken impression, said, "All I want to do is whittle a little wooden reindeer. And that's all I want to do." But what I like about this is it's like your little wooden reindeer are now bombs. They actually have as a function.
Or honestly, you could actually craft them into little reindeer golems.
Which would be dope. I could even see that being like an inventor thing.
Yeah, like a humungulus. But really quick, Reap Psyche. Any sufficiently advanced science is indistinguishable from magic. Arthur C. Clarke. Exactly. That's the quote I was like thinking of.
Yes. Also, the biggest canonical argument between Thor and Iron Man. It's great. But moving right along, I'm going to skip Formula Book because Formula Book is your spell book.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It functions the exact same way. It's just you get formulas instead of spell slots. Research field. This is the part where you decide what kind of alchemist you're going to start to create. You have, at least in the core rule book, 3 to start.
Are we going to go do a deep dive in there right now, or are we going to wait till afterwards?
Why don't we do a quick start with the bomber?
All right.
You specialize in explosions and other violent alchemical reactions. You start with the formulas for 2 first-level alchemical bombs in your book, in addition to your other formulas. When throwing an alchemical bomb with the splash trait, you deal splash damage only to your primary target instead of the usual splash area. So basically, I believe this is a variation of the concentrated bomb admixture from first edition, where you do more damage to a single target as opposed to having the AoE effect.
Do you know what the bomber reminds me of? Remember that old cartoon, The Tick? I'm the midnight bomber that bombs at midnight. I think I was I was Bobcat, the comedian Bobcat.
Bobcat Goldthwait.
Yeah, I think he voiced that character.
I feel like the Tick needs to have a reemergence with the same complete zaniness that they had in that time period.
The live action The Tick on Amazon Prime is so good.
I'll have to check that out. Malice 1974. That's right. Big bada boom. Next up, we have the chirurgeon. Funny thing about this word, if you get into fantasy RPGs, you're going to see chirurgeon a lot. It's just surgeon. Apparently, chirurgeon was the official word for people that like worked to heal people, like get inside their guts and fix them up. And after time, we got sick and tired of saying chirurgeon and just said surgeon.
Yeah, and also, honestly, way back in the day, they were also just barbers. They were the barbers.
Hey, look, you had to diversify. You got to hustle. Why don't you read the surgeon?
All right. Are we going into just really quick? We're not going to the field discovery and all that other stuff, right?
Field discovery. I don't believe so.
Okay. Chirurgeon. You concentrate on healing others with alchemy. You start with the formulas for 2 of the following in your formula book. In addition to your other formulas, lesser antidote, lesser anti-plague, or minor elixir of life. We really need those right now, like real world. Anyway,
real world. Oh my
yeah.
god, yeah.
As long as your proficiency rank in medicine is trained or better, you can attempt a crafting check instead of a medicine check for any of the medicine's untrained and trained uses.
Absolutely. So, and the last one is mutagenesis, and I'll cover this quickly because it's a lot of fun. You focus on bizarre mutagenic transformations that sacrifice one aspect of a creature's physical or physiological being in order to strengthen another. You start with formulas for 2 first-level mutagens in your formula book, in addition to your other formulas. You can gain the benefit of any mutagen, even if it wasn't specifically brewed for you. Whenever your proficiency rank for simple weapon increases, your proficiency rank for unarmed attacks increases to the same rank, unless it's already better. So bottom line, if you want a Dr. Jekyll, you're Mr. Hyde, you best get the mutagenist, and there's some really fun things you can do from
Honestly, also, I think if you get a chance, check out BBC's, it's an old TV series called Jekyll, I believe. Not too bad. Sadly, I wish they actually continued it because it had potential.
I think I remember that show. It was made by Stephen Moffat, right?
Yeah, yeah. It was around the same time as Sherlock. But anyway, I think we still have time. You know what? We have time. I think we have for a toxologist, and I'm gonna go into that really, really quick.
Okay.
This one's in the Advanced Player's Guidebook. You specialize in toxin and venom of all types. You start with the formulas for 2 common first-level alchemical poisons in your formula book. In addition to your other formulas, you can apply an injury poison you're holding to a weapon you're wielding as a single action, rather than as a 2-action activity, and you can change the DCs of your infused poisons of your class to your class DC if it's higher. Honestly, poisons are a lot of fun in Pathfinder 2nd Edition. It could be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I will say that is something that they also kind of excel at making fun for players and GMs alike. In other games, poison's just, I have a terribly small DC, and if by some crazy miracle they don't outright, fat success it, you're going to do a little bit of bonus damage or give an effect. This is like...
It's basically persistent damage, like bleed.
Well, it depends. Like if we're talking about the other edition,
Yeah,
it's mostly just flat damage, and if you're lucky, you might get a status effect. In this game, it is a 4 to 5 stage process that has a different dynamic effect at every stage, and that's so much fun because especially if you get a disease, it'll say like in a few days or like a week, this could have this horrible side effect. So now you get the role play of like, oh God, if I don't solve this in a week, I'm going to turn into a ghoul, die, and try to eat my friends.
Yeah. And
that
honestly,
is stakes, my dude.
A toxologist with a investigator archetype in a social game could be so much fun. Like, what's that one character? The Sicilian, I think in Princess Bride, with the poison cups. You remember that, right, PJ?
I do. Reap Psyche just said Pathfinder 1.0 had a Viridium dart. It was a poison save, or you got leprosy. I use them as much as possible. See, that's what I'm talking about. That's such great story. Yeah. Moving right along. So right now, we're seeing the Alchemist is capable of damage, healing, buffing, debuffing, and spells like any other wizard can. But let's move on to all the more specifics. Alchemist feats at first level, skill feats at second, general feats at third. Skill increase at third, ability boosts and ancestry feats at fifth, pretty standard. Fifth level, and this is what Michael was talking about earlier, field discovery. Whatever you chose, it's going to get better. So let's talk about that. The bomber. When using advanced alchemy to make bombs during your daily preps, you can use a batch of reagents to create any 3 bombs instead of just 2 of the same. More bombs, more solutions, man.
Chargin, whatever the hell it's called. When using advanced alchemy to make elixirs of life during your daily preparations, you can create 3 elixirs with each batch of regents instead of 2. Honestly, Alchemist, you could definitely be your party's primary healer at this point too.
Yeah, and what's more interesting is imagine like And we know our lovely Alona, our amazingly competent and fierce battle cloister
Who's in
cleric
chat
Alona.
too?
Yes, Sydney. Yeah, I see you there. You know, when you're a cleric, you have so much resource to heal people, medicine checks, and the heal spell. And the heal spell, oh my God, so good. But now imagine the tension and pressure of being an alchemist healer, where like now you're like, I gotta throw bombs, I gotta pop mutagens. Oh crap, who's down? I only got like 4, but we're gonna do it. You know, and you get this. I don't know. I think it's really fun, that tension.
Yeah.
Only because you're so capable, but so limited.
Yeah,
I think that's fun.
What is it? There's literally an archetype called, I think, Medic, that you can also pair with this class. That can make it so good.
Medic is so good. Oh, sorry, I got a little got a little flustered. All right, mutagenist at 5th level. When using advanced alchemy to make mutagens during your daily preparations, you can use a batch of reagents to create any 3 mutagens instead of 2 of the same. Again, you have your Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Now, what they don't say, and this is a 1st edition, we're going to confirm this soon, but in 1st edition, you could take a mutagen that made you like the Hulk, right? You could also take a mutagen that made you a big old smarty boy with a big old brain energy.
Yeah, basically the leader from the Hulk.
Yeah. And then you started becoming like, you started getting massive bonuses to your intelligence. And you can't combine them. It's one or the other in 1st edition, but you have options now. You have a variety of options that can really, really give you some potency. Moving down the chart, because as you know, we have some feats to get to.
The
Yeah, go ahead.
toxologist. When using advanced alchemy to make poisons during your daily preparations, you can spend 1 batch of reagents to create 3 poisons in any combination instead of 2 of the same poison. And once again, poison is so much fun in Pathfinder now.
So much fun. It is. And having variety, always so good. All right. I'm going to try and run through these as fast as possible while still paying respects. Alchemical weapon expertise. Your proficiency ranks for simple weapons and alchemical bombs are now expert. Iron will. Your will saves are now expert. Perpetual infusions. This is definitely going to be more intense. You gain the ability to create 2 first-level alchemical items using quick alchemy without spending a batch of infused reagents. So now your lower-level formulas are 3, within reason, in combat, 1 action to make. These items can be depend on your research field, and must be in your formula book. So these items that we're about to mention have to be something that you're proficient with, like this is your field of study. So for Bomber, you can choose 2 of the following formulas. Okay, bear with me. Lesser Acid Flisk, Lesser Alchemist Fire, Lesser Bottle Lightning, Lesser Liquid Ice, Lesser Tanglefoot Bag, Lesser Thunderstone. You want to do a short?
My favorites from those lists is Lesser Alchemist Fire and Lesser Tanglefoot Bag. Those could be so useful at honestly any level.
Absolutely. Especially, I also like the Bottled Lightning, because that gives you some really good electric arc spells like that.
And also, I really like that skit with Key and Peele. I got that lightning in a bottle, man.
Oh, I love that character. He's what I call magically dumb.
He's a magical Jeremy.
Yeah. Oh.
Anyway, moving on. Churgeon. Let's see. Up there. Let's see. You could. It's actually a lot shorter, which is Lesser Antidote and Lesser Anti-Plague.
You know, which I like, because I feel like if they start giving you healing potions that you can just whip up on the fly with 1 action, like automatically for free, that would get a little broken. Yeah. But I like that they give you something to remove poison and something to remove disease.
Yeah, you don't have a choice. It's like, here, there you go, done. You're done. Easy peasy.
Because it gives you the effect of helping out your teammates without breaking the game. Like, oh, here's I whip this up. It's a 4d8 healing spell.
Malice in chat saying, I missed the Tangle Burn from 1E.
Yeah, the good old 1-2 punch. My favorite 1-2 punch was Web and Burning Hands, or Web and Fireball. Because, I mean, same basic premise. They're trapped. They can't move anywhere. And there's a bit of bonus damage to fire spells that go off within that area. Yeah. So you hit him with the 1-2.
I remember a game I was in. This was a total rule of cool moment. One of our spellcasters web. Another spellcaster who was a transmuter turned that web into copper coil. And then me, as our third spellcaster, like, basically did a shocking grasp on the copper web.
I love that stuff. I used to flavor text because I was a weeb, kind of, I guess, still am. That when you do like Burning Hands or the web and then Fireball, that you're just doing Sasuke's Kiton, the big fire
Yeah.
breath attack. Moving on, mutagenist. Choose two of the following formulas: lesser bestial mutagen, lesser bullhead mutagen, lesser cognitive mutagen, lesser juggernaut mutagen, lesser quicksilver mutagen, and lesser silver tongue mutagen. And if you haven't guessed already, those basically influence your core stats. I'm also seeing Malice putting up some great ideas.
Yep.
Grease and blade barrier. Yep. Turn on the blender.
Toxicologist has very simple. You choose just 2 common first level alchemical poisons. Boom, there.
Oh my god, that's perfect. Making our way downtown, chemical expertise. Your proficiency in your alchemist class DC is expert. Alertness, your perception is increased to expert. This is new, double brew. You know your formula so well you can concoct 2 items at once. When using quick alchemy action, instead of spending 1 batch of infused reagents to create a single item, you can spend up to 2 batches of infused reagents to make up the 2 alchemical items as described in that action. They do not have to be the same. Again, more quick freebies. Nothing wrong with that. The Juggernaut at level 11. Personally, I hated Vinnie Jones as the Juggernaut. I thought that was dumb, but I think they wanted to make him English because Patrick Stewart was.
Yeah. I mean, I honestly, but I do really like the Deadpool version of the Juggernaut. That was cool.
That's how you do it. You get Jean DiMaggio. Anyway, moving on. Juggernaut. Fortitude saves increase to master, and when you roll a success, it becomes a crit success instead. Perpetual potency. There.
We're going back into research fields.
And this is another thing I like. When you choose your research field, it levels up with you. It's kind of like when you choose a school of study for the wizard, but it's for the alchemist. The bomber. The moderate versions of the bombs you choose for Perpetual Infusions, which allow you to use quick alchemy to create more powerful items with no cost. The items you can select depend on your research field. So basically, bombers they go from lesser to moderate bombs for free, and you can build them in combat. So if you're like, I haven't prepped any bombs, I think that's what I'm looking at. Yeah, quick alchemy. I haven't built any bombs. I'm going to build the right moderate bomb for this situation right here.
For Churchin, once again, super simple. It's moderate antidote and anti-plague. Boom, done.
Yeah. Mutagenist. Moderate versions of the mutagens you already know.
And for Toxicologist, choose 2 common 5th level or lower alchemical poisons. Simple.
And that's what I like about this. The fact that they're like, okay, so this is a prepared spellcasting class like the wizard. But the biggest problem with the wizard is lack of flexibility, which is something the sorcerer exceeds at. But there's some issues with sorcerer. What's cool about this is you have both prepared spells, and then you can basically BS your spells on the fly. It will cost you an action to do that, and it will not be as strong as your prepared spells. But it's free.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a really cool system. I like it.
All right, let's move on.
Greater field discovery at 13. Basically, this is the next echelon of your field of study. Bomber, you increase the splash of your bombs to damage creatures within 10 feet or 15 feet if you have the expanded splash ability. So bigger bombs make bigger booms.
For Churchins, greater field discovery is when you use quick alchemy to create any type of elixir of life. Really quick, elixir of life is basically the alchemist version of healing potion. The creature drinking the elixir gains the maximum hit points possible for that elixir instead of rolling to determine the number of hit points gained. So it's pretty much it's maximum all the time.
That is great because, like, Sydney, how many times have you tried to roll a heal spell and you only rolled a 1? It sucks, right? You're like, oh. So yeah, they do full HP heal, and I think that's great. Mutagenist. Give me a second. It's the biggest one here. If you imbibe another mutagen while you are under the effects of a mutagen that you created, you gain the benefits and the drawbacks of both mutagens at once, despite the fact that they both have the polymorph trait and would not normally function together. If you come under the effects of any further mutagens while benefiting from the two, you lose the benefit of one of the former mutagens of your choice, while retaining the drawbacks of all the mutagens, including the one you just lost. If you are under the effects of two mutagens and you come under the effect of a non-mutagen polymorph effect, you lose the benefits of the mutagens while retaining the drawbacks. So this is a huge risk, huge reward problem, because you could be starting off in a fight thinking, okay, well, I need to Hulk out, and you chug your elixir of strength, and you know what? Let's also get a little tanky, chug the juggernaut, right? And you're like, ha, come at me. And then you realize everyone here is like immune to physical damage, and you better start throwing your elemental bombs. You have to go, crap, start chugging the cognitive potion.
Yeah, you can oh, need that Red Bull.
Yep. Give me wings. And now the problem is that you have the juggernaut, so you can be tanky, in the intelligence bonus, you can do more damage with your bombs, but you still suffer the drawbacks of all three. And sometimes the drawbacks of some of them actually counter the mutagen you're about to pop.
Yeah.
So it's dicey. You gotta be really careful about that.
As a mutagenist, you're gonna have to really know what your mutagens do, like the drawbacks and the strength of it, because why are you going to take a mutagen that's going to, buff your strength, but lower your intelligence, and take another mutagen that lowers your intelligence, ups your intelligence, and lowers your strength? So basically, you just go back to zero.
Yeah. Next up, light armor expertise.
Oh, really quick, toxologist. Actually, toxologist.
I keep forgetting it's just not in the core rulebook, so go ahead.
You apply 2 different injury poisons to the same weapon, though not to a piece of ammunition. The 2 poisons can be up to 6 levels lower than your level, and you can't use the poisons made without spending a batch of infused regents via Perpetual Infusions. Applying the 2 poisons require a separate action to apply each poison. When completed, you combine the 2 poisons on a weapon into a double poison with the lower of the 2 poisons DCs. This double poison is only variant if both poisons are variant, and if poisons have a different number of stages, the double poison has a number of stages equal to the poison with a lower number of stages. The target takes effect of both poisons for its current stage, which basically it's going to take 2 turns to put 2 poisons on your weapon, and it cannot be on like a ranged ammunition like an arrow or something. But still, honestly, combining 2 poisons to kind of create a new, like a double effect, can be actually really strong, I want to say.
It's a difficult process of balance versus intention, because they're basically giving you the ability to put 2 poisons that can't become virulent. And I believe when it becomes virulent, I think that means it can be given to other people. Either way, it can't become virulent, and they're both going to be hamstringed. But the fact of the matter is, you're still applying 2 unique poison effects at one time. I think this is really cool. However, it's one of those things where it takes too much to make it work. I feel
it's along the same lines as the mutagenist ability at that point, where you gotta really understand all your formulas and how they work with each other.
Yeah, and a class like this is going to be crunchy. Bottom line, a spellcaster. And we'll tell you about it, because when we turned level 3, we all kind of got together and like, okay, so how are we going to build like the next level? Spellcasting can become very difficult.
I would not recommend Alchemist if it's your first time playing.
Here's PJ's secret. I like to go smash. I don't want to have to do a lot of spell prepping. I understand it, and that's why I don't want to do it. So
I'm the opposite. I'm obsessive compulsive. I will read up everything I can on said class and obsessive over it for like 3 months, figuring out what I can and cannot do.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I'm the same way, but I do that with mostly martial classes. So moving on, weapon specialization. Everything you are trained in does more damage. 2, 3, and 4 respective to expert mastery and legendary. And this should be said, this goes with bombs as well. So if you're a bomber and you're just that psychopath throwing bombs everywhere,
Yeah, if you're the
your
midnight
bombs-
bomber who bombs at midnight.
you just get more damage for your bombs. I'm sorry, I don't know why, but I love bomb
Yeah,
builds.
you
That
have an
just is
arm like a cannon. You're the QB of your team.
yeah. Oh god, not to mention some of the bombs get really fun and the damage you can do. Alchemical alacrity. When using quick alchemy action, you can spend up to 3 batches of infused reagents to make up to 3 alchemical items as described in that action. These items do not have to be the same. So more creating on the fly. It kind of has the balance of wizard and sorcerer in this little middle ground.
Yeah.
Really good
Oh,
stuff.
really quick, Reap Psyche posted, my friend in Pathfinder Kingmaker had a level 16 wizard, and that man had spreadsheets, flowcharts, diagrams, and whiteboard spell lists to keep track of their magic. Dude,
Yeah.
Rufa's not a spellcaster, and I have that for all his skills that he can do.
There was, if you ever hear me and Ian talk about Rise of the Rune Lords, we had a campaign. I was playing a Blood Rager with a few different bloodlines that you could do in Pathfinder 1. One of them was the Imperious Rex bloodline, which made it so that if I got buffed, I could do some really fun things with those buffs back for the party. Just so happens we had a bard and a druid. And at one point we had a hunter. That's a different story. Yeah. But so what we had to do is we had to create a spreadsheet because of this, whereby when the bard activated their buff spells and the druid activated their spells, because I was in the party, how that changed that effect. So I think at one point we were getting plus 12 to hit and plus 10 to damage on every strike for the whole party.
Nice.
And we got like another 10 or 15 temp HP. It was insane.
Hey, PJ, remember in the before times when we were able to all play together in person, and I brought my binder with all the skill actions that I could do?
I remember that. I remember it was like a Bible of how I'm going to trip you and beat you up. Yeah, just saw Reap Psyche's reaction. Yeah, we had to have a flowchart so we could remember how the bonuses from the Bard and the Imperious Rex Blood Rager worked. It was
honestly, oh man, I bet once one person got taken out of combat or something, that flowchart, oh man. Okay, we have to redo the whole thing, guys.
Oh, well, yeah, because so much of it was based on the synergy between me and the Bard. Once you took any of those two out, But then again, we were so strong. Ian had to up the HP of all the characters by a lot, and we still wrecked them. But that's old Rise of the Rune Lord stuff. Level 15, you get evasion. Reflex is master. Success becomes critical. Alchemical mastery. Your DC in alchemical stuff is masters. Perpetual perfection. This is the 17th level trait that functions with your choice.
Essentially, this is your keystone ability, right?
Sort of, because the 19th one sucks. The 19th trait is light armor mastery, which I would rather see that. I mean, I don't know. Actually, I'm glad this is at 17 because that gives you 3 levels to enjoy what is truly your capstone ability.
Yeah, this is a class that's gonna have fun with its archetypes, I think, if you could get it.
Yeah, absolutely. Perpetual Perfection. Whenever you do quick alchemy, you can create even more powerful items at no cost. If you are a bomber, these are the greater versions of the bombs that you chose for your Perpetual Infusions.
Yep, and if you're a Churgeon, your Perpetual Perfection is the greater antidote and anti-plague, which honestly, that's really useful at high levels. The status effect, that's going to really come in play.
And of course, the mutagenist, greater versions of the mutagens that you chose. So what's awesome about this, again, the flexibility on the fly. You need a big bada boom, shake, shake, you got it, and you just throw it.
And a toxiologist is choose 2 common 11th level or lower alchemical poisons, and the high level alchemical poisons, they're nice.
So you got a healer, you got DPS, you got potential frontliner or potential enhanced backliner, and you have a debuffer.
Yeah.
Yeah. this thing can do anything. Granted, it has to focus in it, but it still has the flexibility in their formulas. That being said, Reap Psyche says, our fighter paladin had another sheet to track what happened with their crit shield bash blendathon because they were built for crit and chaining them. Oh my god, I love that. I had a paladin who was a spear and shield 2-weapon fighter. Spear and shield, that's right.
Oh god, I love spear weapons.
I cannot imagine just a crit chain. Oh, Swashbuckler Magus with a rapier and a crit fishing build. You want to kill a boss, you do that. That being said, thank you for your patience. We are now going to jump into the Alchemist feats from 1 to 20. Strap in. It's going to be a lot.
Do you want me to kick it off with Alchemical Familiar?
Of course.
All right, Alchemical Familiar, level 1 feat. You've used alchemy to create life, a simple creature formed from alchemical materials, reagents, and a bit of your own blood. The Alchemical Familiar appears to be a small creature of flesh and blood, though it might have some unusual or distinguishing aspects depending on your creative process. Like other familiars, your Alchemical Familiar assists you in your laboratory and on adventures. The familiar uses your intelligence modifier to determine its perception, acrobatics, and stealth modifiers. Not too bad. This is basically, remember we were talking before about your character who crafted all these little reindeers?
Yeah.
That reindeer could be your familiar, or honestly even, oh my god. You know what? It's been long enough. I'm going to say it. Full Metal Alchemist, the little girl and the dog.
You know, it's so funny about that meme. Like, everyone is, like, still upset about that, and I think, honestly, they're just upset because the meme dictates you have to be upset about it. I mean, maybe it was, I don't know. But I think it's funny. I think it's a good meme. And I think that would be... Is that really an Alchemical Figure, or is that a straight-up homunculus?
No, that's Alchemical Familiar.
Bam! Well, moving right along. Alchemical Savant. Training crafting. You can identify alchemical items quickly when using the crafting skill to identify alchemy on an alchemical item you hold. You can do so as a single action, which has the concentrate and manipulate traits. Instead of spending 10 minutes. Wow, brain, catch up. If you have the formula for the item you are attempting to identify, you get a +2 bonus on the check. If you roll a critical failure, you get a regular failure instead. So it's nice. It gives you benefits or bonuses to identify, but I kind of have to feel like, you know, any GM would let you just get the opportunity to make an alchemical lore skill or a crafting alchemy check to know what's in that potion.
Reap Psyche posted, there are far worse things in anime, but that doesn't mean it wasn't terrible. We're just jaded, PJ. Exactly.
You're right, Reap Psyche. We are absolutely jaded.
Yeah.
It was terrible. I'm just saying I feel like also the meme is not, you know what? It's bad. It's bad all the way around.
And, Jazo, I think this is the first time we've seen you in chat. Hello and welcome to At the Table. They posted, at my table of Age of Ashes, the toxicologist is shining. He buffs, debuffs, and poisons to the max.
Very nice. Also, it's great to see you in the chat, Jayazo. Great to see you. That sounds like an amazing combination of possibilities there. You got everything covered. You have offense, defense, and long-term in both. That's really, really good.
All right. Our next feat is Farlobber. You've learned how to throw a longer distance. When you throw an alchemical bomb, it has the range increment of 30 feet instead of the usual 20 feet. Yep, this is that. You're basically a QB on your high school football team at this point. You have an arm like a cannon.
Well, thank you. We're so glad that you enjoy the stream, Jayazo. I kind of want to see like this like human jock / nerd hybrid, you know, like someone who only got into lifting and athletics because it was science. And so they're just like nerd at heart. And then they do like, they go hut hike, they snap the greater firebomb, do a good 5-yard fade back, and then throw.
Oh my god. If we ever do a high school version of we do like a Pathfinder High.
I feel like it's almost mandatory to do Pathfinder High.
Play the nerd jock.
Maybe, and I keep making so many one-shot promises. Maybe I'll make a silly one-shot where it's like Edge of Legend High or something. But Right now, shameless plug, we have Raw's Rave Party going to be happening this month. Specific date to come, we're still finalizing everything. And then, of course, in March, we're having the Night Witches of New Jack City one-shot in honor of International Women's Day. But that being said, the next feat is Quick Bomber. One action, you keep your bombs in easy-to-reach pouches from which you draw without thinking. You interact to draw a bomb, then strike with it. That's really cool because that means you can constantly just, like, grab and throw bombs, like, at will. I mean, obviously within reason, your 3 actions. But the fact that one action allows you to draw the weapon and throw it, that's pretty sexy.
All right, give me 1 second. There is a lot of advanced player's guide feats.
Yeah, now here's the thing. I love this book. This book is amazing. However, if we were to go over both books, we'd be here all day.
Yeah, this would be a 4-hour stream, which usually we don't mind, but well, we mind.
We've definitely done them, but homie's got to eat. I cannot have a banana and coffee and live off that.
All right, okay, here's our next core rulebook. We're in the level 2 feats now, which is Poison Resistance. Your body becomes fortitude against toxins. You gain the poison resistance equal to half your level, and you gain a +1 status bonus to saving throws against poisons.
So now my question is, Dwarven Alchemist equals no poison ever? Maybe?
Maybe. Or honestly, Dwarven Alchemist, you're just a brewer at that point.
I mean, well, we know that, what is it, a certain gnome in the show has been blessed by a goddess to be able to brew not only great booze, but great potions, so we'll see what they do with that. Revivifying mutagen. Well, under the effect of a mutagen, you can metabolize that mutagen's power to heal yourself. This use is a single action which has the concentrate and manipulate traits. Once the action is complete, you regain 1d6 hit points for every 2 item levels of the mutagen, minimum 1d6. But the mutagen's duration immediately ends, even if you're under the effect of a persistent mutagen. This is a good get-out-of-jail-free card. If you pop the mutagen and you're like, holy balls, I'm dying like crazy, you get some HP back, you get the heck out of the fight. So it's kind of nice.
Yeah. Our next one, this is something if you want to play basically Batman. It's because it's a smoke bomb. Smoke bomb. It's you can frequency once per round. It's a additive 1 alchemical skill. You can use the quick alchemy to craft an alchemical bomb with a level of at least 1 lower than your advanced alchemy level. That's a trigger. And you use the bomb to create a cloud of thick smoke. Very thick, 2 Cs. In addition to its normal effects, when thrown, the bomb creates a cloud of smoke in a 10-foot radius burst. You choose which corner of the target space or the space in which the bomb lands the cloud is centered on. Creatures within the area have the concealed condition, and all other creatures are concealed to them. The smoke lasts for 1 minute or until dissipated by strong wind, and it has a trait of additive 1, which means feats with the additive feat will allow you to spend actions to add special substances to bombs or elixirs. You can only add 1 additive to a single alchemical item, and attempting to add another spoils the item. You can typically use the actions with the additive trait only when you're crafting an infused alchemical item, and some can be used only with the quick alchemy action. The additive trait is always followed by a level, such as additive 2. And additive adds to its level to the level of the alchemical item you're modifying. The result is a new level of the mixture, and the mixture's item level must be no higher than your advanced alchemy level.
Yeah. As Malice is saying in the chat, so poison smoke bombs. Yeah. Poison smoke bombs. And basically what it comes down to is additive allows you to customize bombs on the go. So you could make a poison smoke bomb. You could also make a smoke bomb that maybe has more tangible effects. And Reap Psyche put something out that was really cool. They want to make an alchemist inventor tagger. Think jet grind radio.
Oh, that would be cool. That would be so cool.
I will even offer Reap Psyche that if this character is at the table of a game I was playing, or running, I should say, and took a level of Bard, or archetype of Bard, I would allow it so when you tag in an area, that tag represents the bardic effect of your focus cantrip or focus spell while everyone's within the area of that tag. Much like how in Jet Grind Radio, when you tag something, that's your turf, that kind of like, gives you that boost to fighting the man. So I think that's really cool. I think it'd be a lot of
Yeah.
fun, and we'd like it. Yeah, dude. I'm just saying, let's do it. Let's play an urban campaign where we have a bard, alchemist, inventor, tagger. Next
All
up,
right.
fourth level, calculated splash. You have calculated all the angles to maximize a bomb splash. When you throw an alchemical bomb with a splash trait, you can cause the bomb to deal splash damage equal to your intelligence modifier, minimum of 0, instead of the normal amount. So this is cool because let's say you want to throw a butt ton of AoEs, 1 metric dummy thick butt ton of area of effect.
Yeah, a lot of
Calculated
alchemist fires.
yeah, chemical splash or calculated splash is the way to go. That with your weapon enhancement, your high intelligence, everything else, you're going to be just creating giant waves of solid damage.
All right, next up is the efficient alchemy for the alchemist. We're in the level 4 feats now. Thanks, thanks to the time you spent studying and experimenting, you know how to scale your formulas into larger batches that don't require any additional attention. When spending downtime to craft alchemical items, you could produce twice as many alchemical items in a single batch without spending additional preparatory time. For instance, if you're creating elixirs of life, you could craft up to 8 elixirs in a single batch using downtime rather than 4. This does not reduce the amount of alchemical reagents required or other ingredients needed to craft each item, nor does it increase your rate of progress for days past the base downtime spent. This also does not change the number of items you can create in a batch using advanced alchemy. Honestly, this is really nice, especially if you're the Churgeon and you're creating your elixirs of lives.
Yeah, it's really good, but what I like about it is that it's not broken yet.
Yeah.
It still
Yes.
says like you have to use the resources, you have to spend the time. And I have a funny feeling as we get closer to 20, that gonna change. Next up, enduring alchemy. You learn how to make your personal energy last just a little bit longer when quickly brewing ad hoc concoctions. When using quick alchemy to create an alchemical tool or elixir, that tool or elixir remains potent until the end of your next turn instead of losing its potency at the start. So this is cool for delayed tactics. Like if you need to prep a healing spell, in this case an elixir, and you need to prep it because, oh boy, that guy's going to hurt the tank real bad on the next turn, and using it now is a waste. This lets you kind of, for lack of a better word, bake that potato until it's time to let it go. So it's like, oh no, Ichi just got gobsmacked for 50 damage. First of all, I couldn't kill Ichi if I tried. That woman is a tank like no other. So, but let's just say she's down to like 5 HP. This alchemist could just go, okay, if I use this before she gets hit, it's meaningless. I have to wait for her to get hit and then drop this elixir on her. Wham! Now, and that way you don't have to deal with losing your turn in the initiative order for withholding an action, because I hate that rule. It sucks.
Yeah.
It makes sense, but it's like, why would you make me, the GM, do more work for such a simple task? Anyway.
Our next feat I'm going to read is actually from the Advanced Player's Guide, because I think that, honestly, this is so cool. This is a really cool feat. It's called the Healing Bomb.
Yay.
Yeah, this is the love bomb right here. The frequency is once per round. Trigger is you craft a elixir of life using quick alchemy, and that elixir is at least 2 levels lower than your advanced alchemy level. Additive 2, by adding a special catalyst, you transform a healing elixir into a topical projectile. You grant the elixir the bomb trait. If you throw an elixir of bomb at a willing target, you hit even on a failure, although not on a critical failure. If your strike with this elixir bomb hits a living target, the target heals hit points as if consumed by an elixir. On a critical success, the target also gains the elixir's item bonus to saving throws against diseases and poisons for 1 minute.
Oh, snap. Okay.
Yeah, you now know why I wanted to read this out, right?
That's really good. Yeah, so not only can you be a capable healer, is that required? You have to have the Shuriken or surgeon?
No. No.
Oh my god. So you could just take a very potent healer feat at 4th level.
Yeah.
Damn.
Like, honestly, if you're like, this is because usually as an alchemist you have to run up. Here's a potion, drink it, and then run back if you're like a support. But this one's like throw it
Well,
and
plus
have it
it
with
sounds
Farlobber. Have this with Farlobber too.
now, is there a splash effect with that bomb? With that heal bomb?
I don't think so though.
Okay. Still, that's really good. Next up, combine elixirs. This is a 6-level feat, free action, once per round. Use quick alchemy to craft an alchemical item that has the elixir trait and has at least 2 levels lower than your advanced alchemy level. So you're going to be a little, I don't want to say hamstring because 2 levels is really not the end of the world, but effectively, you're going to take 2 elixirs, mix them together, get the benefits of both for 1 use. You discover how to mix them. You can spend 2 additional batches of infused reagents to add a second elixir to the one you're crafting. The second elixir must also be 2 levels lower than your advanced alchemy level. The combination elixir is an alchemical item. I think I might have skipped a bit. Nope. And the combination elixir is an alchemical item 2 levels higher than the higher of the 2 elixirs levels. When this combination elixir is consumed, both the constituent elixirs take effect. For example, you can combine 2 elixirs of life to create a combined elixir that heals twice the normal amount. Or you can combine a lesser dark vision elixir with a lesser eagle eye elixir to gain both dark vision and find secret doors.
PJ, I just thought of something. If we ever play a urban campaign, and if I end up playing a alchemist, I know what kind of alchemist I want to play. I want to play a bartender alchemist.
I dig it.
This is just honestly, this is making cocktails, healing cocktails right here.
Oh, and don't forget the hurting cocktails, all the bombs.
Yeah, or honestly, what is it? Alchemist fire. It's basically a flaming Homer.
Oh God, yep. But the flaming Homer still gets you drunk. Okay,
Yeah.
so Reap Psyche, I want to ask you this because I've been seeing this meme going around, and I see in the chat you mentioned Final Fantasy Tactics. And my friends and I that play Final Fantasy 14, we have a theory that the next healer class is going to be the chemist. Sidebar though, I keep seeing that meme from Final Fantasy, using Final Fantasy Tactics, where Wygraph says that if a penalty for a law is a fine, it is only a law against the poor or whatever. Did he actually say that in the video game? Because
Oh God, I don't remember.
it's been at least a decade and a half since I touched it. So
Also, I just want to say that Final Fantasy Tactics is one of my favorite PS1 games, and definitely my favorite Final Fantasy game. The story of it, honestly, the story for Final Fantasy Tactics it was beyond its time.
yeah.
All right.
It was really, really good. And thank you for confirming that, Reap Psyche, because I try to look everywhere, and I kept seeing that quote used on different memes, so I wasn't sure if he actually said it or not.
Oh yeah, no, seriously, the dialogue for the game and the stuff that you get into the subject matter of Final Fantasy Tactics is so good. Oh god. Anyway, let's move on to deliberating bomb.
Debilitating bomb.
Yeah, what you said. Level 6 feet, additive 2, your quick alchemy. Yeah, your quick alchemy. Frequency once per round. Trigger. You use quick alchemy to craft an alchemical bomb that is at least 2 levels lower than your advanced alchemy level. Your bombs impose additional effects on your enemies. You mix a substance into the bomb that causes one of the following: dazzled, deafened, flatfoot, or -5 foot status penalty to speeds. If the attack with that bomb hits, the target must succeed at a fortitude saving throw or suffer effects until the start of your next turn. Use your class DC for the saving throw, even if someone else throws the bomb. I love this feat because
Dear God,
Yeah.
man. Flatfoot someone. For a
you're the rogue's
round-
best friend.
Yeah. Not to mention anyone else who's sick and tired of missing. Dear
Yep, and
God.
also dazzled is so good. Like forcing a dazzle condition on somebody. Oh, it's forcing a dazzle condition on somebody who's already flat-footed.
Yeah. Yeah. And what's great about this, what we may or may not be forgetting, is that this is just an effect that's added to a bomb that does damage. So you're throwing hand grenades at people, and then when they're done, they're like, oh, well, I'm not moving
Yep.
for a round. Jesus. That is so tactical. That's insane. I mean, the 2 elixirs can be really cool. I mean, making a super heal or making a super spell, that's really good. But this is good because I feel like it covers 3 bases at once. Damn!
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of which, directional bomb. You can lob bombs with great force and precise trajectory to angle the splash in a cone, spraying in a single direction. When throwing an alchemical bomb with a splash trait, instead of splashing all squares adjacent, you can treat the target as a 15-foot cone. If the target takes up to more than a single square, the target's square closest to you is the first affected square of the cone. Imagine like a claymore mine face towards enemy, and then it blows up and it just goes out in that buckshot. That can be cool. I don't know how I feel about a 15-foot cone. Okay. So the 15-foot cone is a bigger AoE. That's worth it. Because I believe a splash at this point is just a 5-foot square. So like center point and then 5 feet in every direction. That's nothing to sneeze at. But 15 feet in one direction is definitely definitely potent. It's definitely bigger.
All right. Next up is a level 8 feat called Feral Mutagen. Your bestial mutagen brings out the beast lurking within you, granting you especially sharp claws and teeth, as well as a ferocious appearance. Whenever you're affected by a bestial mutagen, you gain the mutagen's item bonus to your intimidation checks. In addition, your claws and jaws are increasingly vicious and gain the deadly D10 trait. Finally, you can increase the mutagen's penalty from AC from -1 to -2, and in exchange, increase the damage die of your claws and jaws by 1 step. Yes, please. You're basically it's a werewolf, Mr. Hyde. Honestly, it's a werewolf, Mr. Hyde.
Like, okay, so assuming a jaw is a D8 and a claw is a D6, at level 8 that means it's now a D. Your claws are a D8 and your jaws are a D10. On top of that, all the bonuses you get for just being trained in these attacks, and then deadly D10 trait, which stacks with anything that gives you more dice. That's really good. I mean, it's really good considering that you're not intrinsically a fighter class. That's really, god damn. We're past the 10 minutes. I can swear. Shazbot, that's amazing. Anyway, I'm calm. I'm in control of myself. Powerful alchemy. Alchemical items you create on the fly are particularly potent. When you use quick alchemy to create an infused alchemical item that allows a saving throw, you can change its DC to your class DC. That's really good too. And also, one is low-key disappointment that I've been having. A low-key disappointment is that almost every class gets a class DC, and not a lot of classes ever really dive into it. Like, sure, maybe here and there you get like that one ability out of your 20 that needs it, but for the most part, not a lot of classes really invest in it. What I love is that now you actually have a powerful way to involve that. And I feel like, at least I can't help but feel like, the class DC is probably going to be maybe a little higher.
A little bit.
Maybe a little higher than some spells. Yeah, maybe.
A little bit.
So, anyway, I don't know. I like it.
Anyway, our next item we have up is the Sticky Bomb. Level 8 feat. Frequency once per round, you can use the quick alchemy to craft an alchemical bomb, and that bomb's level is at least 2 levels lower than your advanced alchemy level. You mix in an additive to make your bomb contents adhere to the target and continue to deal damage. The creature that takes direct hit from one of your sticky bombs also takes persistent damage equal to and of the same type as the bomb splash damage. If the bomb already deals persistent damage, combine the 2 amounts. I love persistent damage. I really like it.
Dude, persistent damage is like it's fighting for you, so you don't have to.
Yeah.
The sticky bomb is actually kind of the goblin bomb. The goblin funny bomb that we had in oh hey, look at the robot that just jumped into chat. Want to become famous by followers?
Nah.
Meh. Anyway, So the sticky bomb is kind of like the Goblin Funny Bomb, except that I believe, if I check my notes, the Goblin Funny Bomb makes them either flat-footed or stunned. I think it's stunned, and they take this persistent damage. So it's good. It hurt real bad.
Mm-hmm.
Ah man. So 10th level, Elastic Mutagen. We're actually churning pretty fast. Elastic Mutagen. You can use your body to twist and flow like the Quicksilver within your mutagens. Whenever you are under the effects of a Quicksilver mutagen you created, you can stretch your legs and step up to 10 feet. And you can squish and compress your body, allowing you to make it through tight spaces as if you're one size smaller, in addition to any effect from squeezing. So remember, I think in the last couple episodes, or the last episode, we talked about goblins and orcs. And the iconic alchemist is a goblin. So now imagine, if you will, an alchemist goblin, much like this one, with all the squishy body traits for being a goblin, being small, and then this.
Yeah.
You're now going to be like the smallest Mr. Fantastic that no one can touch.
Mm-hmm. All right, next up is Expanded Splash. Level 10 feet. The prereq is Calculated Splash. This particularly volatile compounds the particularly volatile compounds that you brew into your bombs result in them creating especially large and powerful explosions. When you throw an alchemical bomb that has the splash trait, you can add your intelligence modifier to the bomb's usual splash damage, and it deals splash damage to every creature within 10 feet of the target. This is really, really nice if you're fully invested into the bomber alchemist.
Yeah. Huh. Okay, cool. So yeah, it's kind of fun because the calculated splash I think only adds the bonus int damage to I think the single target, because I'm trying to read it and figure out if the language is actually different. Either way, take calculated splash, take expanded splash, blow up the whole room. Speaking of bombs, Greater Debilitating Bomb. You have learned enhanced techniques and alchemical secrets that allow you to expand the range and effects you can impose. When you use Debilitating Bomb, add the following to the list: Clumsy 1, Enfeebled 1, Stupefied 1, or a 10-foot status penalty to speeds. So instead of taking a 5-foot penalty, you can take a 10-foot penalty, or you can make them clumsy, enfeebled, or stupefied. It's nice. However, my brain is still thinking, dear God, that flat-footed was insane.
Mm-hmm. All right, next up is, if you made your alchemist your healer, they're going to want to take this feat at level 10, Merciful Elixir. Frequency, once per round. Trigger, you can craft a elixir of life using quick alchemy, and the elixir is at least 2 levels lower than your advanced alchemy level. You mix a special additive in your elixir that calms the drinker's body and mind. The elixir of life attempts to counteract one fear effect or one effect imposing the paralyzed condition on the drinker using the item's level, and counteracts and a counteract modifier equal to the class DC minus 10. Yeah, when you're getting around that level 10, those level 10 encounters, I usually say that's when the status debuffs start really coming at you.
Yeah, it really depends on the creature you're fighting. Obviously, the status debuffs are going to be more potent. If they're going to be the same that you've already felt, they're going to be higher level. What I like about this is that, again, it's 2 for 1. Kind of like what was already... Oh, okay. Thank you, Reap Psyche. Going back to the Final Fantasy Tactics quote. See, that's what I thought. I thought it was that case. Unfortunate news. I looked it up again and I remembered wrong. The Y-Graph quote was made by a person on Twitter, but it really sounds like something they'd say in game. Yeah, I feel like it would, but it just kind of struck me as odd because it was it felt like such a recent structure of political discourse. But back to bombs. Oh, that was not a good segue. Point is, this one is a healing elixir that lets you heal people and remove effects. So you're getting 2 for 1 with a free action to do so once per round. Just keep that stuff going. Reap segue said perfect segue. Oh, you know me.
All right.
Oh no, I was just gonna step up the next one. Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say the next one we have here actually is I'm gonna read the one from the Advanced Player's Guide because
Oh,
I want
okay.
to get your opinion on this. Actually, it's
Hmm.
called Unstable Concoction.
Okay.
Level 10 feat, you can create extraordinary, abbot, volatile alchemical wonders, though they have an unfortunate tendency to violently explode when you use them. When you use quick alchemy, you can create an alchemical item from your formula book, whose level is up to 2 levels higher than your advanced alchemy level. You can spend up to 3 additional batches of infused reagents when crafting this item to stabilize it. Upon activating this item, attempt a DC 10 flat check. For every additional batch of infused regents you spent to create the item, reduce this DC by 2. On a success, the item functions normally. On a failure, the item explodes, dealing force damage equal to the user's equal to, dealing force damage to the user equal to twice the item's level, doubled on a critical failure. Basically, I think it's when you're making a bomb, you could kind of stabilize it by using more reagents.
Yeah, it sounds like what you're the it's a potent risk versus reward with a lot of mechanics to put in to stabilize it. So it's like you're creating something 2 levels higher than traditionally you'd be able to create with that effect,
Mm-hmm.
specifically that ability. So you're creating something vastly more potent, but there's a risk that you could be destroyed. Now, the way to circumvent that is to put more reagents in it. I think this is awesome because it's either going to A, make someone work very hard to create this very clutch item, or
Mm-hmm.
B, they're going to have fun going, no, 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 no. I want to see what the dice gods say is going to happen to me.
Yeah, like like you said before, this is for the clutch moment. Like everybody's in your party is like at one HP, and so is your enemy. But the the enemy's turn is coming up right after yours, and if they take their turn, it's going to be a total TPK. Yeah, I'm going to use all my remaining reagents to stabilize this bomb I'm going to create and lob it at this big bad.
Well, now here's a question. Do you want to like drop your diva alt or do you want to drop your mercy alt? What
Yeah.
clutch pull do you want to have? Do you want to be like, you know what? I don't know if I'm going to hit this guy with this bomb, so I'm just going to create this like super unstable healing elixir, AoE, drop it on us. Boom, we all
Yep.
shoot up with HP, and then go, okay, barbarian, smash. And then
Yeah.
he just smiles, or she just goes to town.
It's honestly, it's like I said, it's for that Hail Mary moment. And I love those moments because
Yeah.
those moments are the best in TTRPGs.
You see, there's a quote that we have in science: when one must f around with science, one will always find out. And this is a case of f around and find out with science.
Yeah.
But moving right along, the potent poisoner is the next ability. That ability, by the way, super fun. I don't know if I would get rid of the other level 10s in favor of that, but it sounds fun.
Mm-hmm.
Potent poisoner at level 10, you have to have the powerful alchemy prerequisites. By concentrating your poison's toxic components, you make them harder for victims to resist. When you craft an alchemical item with the poison trait by any means, that DC is increased by 4 to a maximum of your class DC. So one of the biggest struggles we all have with poison DCs is that they generally tend to skew a little lower because they want to like kind of give people the chance of succeeding
Yeah.
the poison save. So now you basically get to like any poison is now a class DC poison, which again, I always have a problem with the fact that class DCs really don't get used all that often, and now you have a poison that's based on your class DC. And you mix this with a toxicologist, you now have a very potent poisoner,
Mm-hmm.
which is the name of the ability.
Yep. All right. Our next up, we have the Invincible Mutagen. Level 12 feat. The fortifying additives you brew into your mutagens make your juggernaut form impervious. Literally, you're becoming the juggernaut. Whenever you're affected by a juggernaut mutagen, you gain the resistance to all physical damage equal to your intelligence modifier. Minimum
Holy God.
0. Yeah, you are
Holy-
literally the juggernaut. I'm the
Hold on.
juggernaut, B word.
You gain resistance to all physical damage. Okay, so it's only physical damage, which at level 12 could go either way. I'm trying to see if the language says the stacks with other sources, because that could be insane.
Because honestly, this is you pop that. This is when you pop that mutagen, Juggernaut mutagen, where you're facing off against a bunch of town guards or an army with physical weapons.
And remember, we said that earlier in this build, like a level or two ago, you can combine that Juggernaut mutagen with the Intelligent Boost mutagen. So now your resistance is going through the roof. You can be a close-range bomb thrower. Like, go ahead and fight me. I am the bomb. Like, that's so cool. Also, big shout out to Malice, who said, in the immortal words of my daddy, pull.
Dude, I just realized, what if you take that Pharaoh mutagen with this mutagen?
Oh man, that's
basically like werewolf Juggernaut.
Oh,
think about it.
It could be cool. I think the big difference there is your intelligence modifier. I feel like the feral mutagen would be on a melee drink or a melee mutagen that would limit your intelligence. So I feel like it may not.
Yeah, because I think isn't it Juggernaut lowers your intelligence and so does the feral mutagen? So yeah, you're just becoming a mindless beast. But you know what? Who cares? You are resistant to physical damage and you're dealing flat rate 2d10 deadly with a deadly trait.
Yeah. Now, granted, you're still gonna suffer from the invincible mutagen not giving you the full effect because your intelligence has taken quite a hit. But again, I think if you stack the intelligence and the Juggernaut, you still get some nice natural DR while you're in the fray and throwing bombs for more damage.
Reap Psyche posted, "Oh man, gunslinger, alchemist, throw the bomb, shoot it in midair." Yeah, honestly, I would actually choose the drifter for the drifter, the subclass of the gunslinger with this.
Yeah, I was going to say, Reeps, like, you make a very good point. There is a gunslinger ability, and I'm sure that's why you brought it up, where you can throw an alchemical item in the air and shoot it with your gun, and then basically the idea is you're taking an alchemical item that only affects one person, and you're now forcing it to be a splash AoE.
Yep.
So now, if you're already building massive AoE bombs and you have a little bit of gunslinger in you, throw that thing in the air, pow, and now it's even bigger.
Yep. All right.
Uncanny bombs. I like this. Far lobber. You lob bombs unerringly, despite obstructions or distance. When you throw an alchemical item with the bomb trait, its range increment increases to 60 feet. You reduce any circumstance bonus to the target's AC from cover by 1, and you automatically succeed the flat check when targeting a concealed creature. What? Okay, so now you can throw this thing like a quarterback. They get 1 less armor class from cover, and you automatically succeed in targeting them.
See, this is how I see it. PJ. The first level of this, based on far lobber, you're the high school quarterback. This is your when you go that college, that high school quarterback goes to college. Because I think there's one more. There's one more where your quarterback becomes pro at the NHL. Yeah.
Well, the good thing is we are NFL. The good
NFL.
We are closing in on the end of it, so we'll probably get to that one soon.
Yeah.
Because now we're on the level 14 feats.
I just want to say I don't really watch football, so yeah.
It's okay. Here's how I look at things. Study a little bit of everything, so you can at least have a conversation with everyone to a small degree.
I will say this though, I do do the Super Bowl because of betting and buffalo wings.
I mean, dude, how do I put this? Dude, Super Bowl is it's like any party. You're not going for the theme. You're going for the party. It's like the theme is just the Super Bowl. The party is the food, the booze, the commercials, the camaraderie.
Yeah.
Those things.
Love the commercials. But anyway, next up we have the Glib mutagen, level 14 fee. This is what Rufo would take if he takes the alchemical archetype, which he's not going to take, but this is a what-if world. This is the what-if world. What if Rufo was a chemist? Your silver-tongued mutagen transcends language and plausibility. When affected by silver-tongued mutagen you created, you ignore circumstance penalties to deception, diplomacy, intimidation, and performance checks. In addition, your words transcend
Linguistics.
what you said, barriers. I can't word today for some reason. Anyway, everyone listening to you speak hears your words as if you were speaking in their own language. Though you do not actually speak the language, nor does this ability allow you to understand any additional languages. This would have been so useful early Edge of Legends.
Yup. Which makes me laugh, though. I just love the first sentence. This mutagen transcends languages and plausibility. Like, everyone's just dumbfounded. How are you talking to a rock? Because we roll, man. That's why. Boo. Get to the back of the team line.
Yeah.
I hate you.
Your character is basically making up their own version of Pig Latin.
Yeah. Now, I love this. This is definitely... It's weird, though, because this is now something that makes the Alchemist a diplomancer. Mm-hmm. And it's a very unusual feat to do so, because up to this point, they've been basically a very diverse spellcaster / combative placement unit, right? Front, back, and middle, they can go anywhere. And now they kind of have, and I can see why they would put it this far in, they have this kind of catch-all to also get involved with the social aspect.
This is your, honestly, this is the bartender alchemist I was talking about.
Yeah, Malice made a good point. So universal translator for rogues. Yeah, basically, I think the only key difference is that rogues can be built into charisma. You can also build alchemists with high charisma stats, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Generally speaking, though, they don't need it for anything.
PJ,
so this is
I
kind
just
of
realized something. What if whatever concoction they create, they drink, they just they don't speak it, but they become so drunk, like every race just knows that guy. Everybody just knows that guy who's they're drunk, but you can somehow understand what they're trying to communicate out. Like, drink,
So like the guy from Snatch, the one that Brad Pitt played.
Yeah,
pretty much. Well, hey, who knows? Maybe a certain gnome will make a drink that will get someone so drunk that they become universally understood. Next up, Greater Merciful Elixir. Requisites, of course, the Merciful Elixir. Your additives contain panaceas that can remedy a plethora of maladies. Say that 10 times fast. When you use the Merciful Elixir, your elixir can instead attempt to counteract the blinded, deafened, sickened, or slowed condition. Okay. Not bad. You're probably going to get a lot more that slowed, conditioned, and blinded as you move through. Not bad. This good question. Malice, 1974. Would Zone of Truth still work? I think that could be kind of an interesting bit of roleplay. As a GM, I would say if the champion or the cleric and the alchemist were working together to put a Zone of Truth on someone with a very, shall we say, difficult language or cultural background, maybe from a different plane, I think you might be able to make that happen. It's like co-interrogators.
Honestly, co-interrogators would be great if one of them has the interrogator methodology of the investigator, which Rufa has. But anyway, Reap Psyche also posted, I had a friend who had Russian ancestry, but didn't speak any Russian. But if he got drunk enough, he would speak fluent Russian, and no one knew why.
I love that subconscious language training.
It's like that scene in what was that movie with the broken lizards, Beer Fest?
Yeah. The drunk memory recall. I have a friend back home in DC who is originally from Essex, England, and when he moved out here, he didn't like the attention he was getting for being English, because all these girls were like, say this word, and they were treating him as kind of like this adorable, sexy puppy that they were like, oh, you're so cute because you're English, and he's like, no, I'm a person, I'm not just an accent. So he tried very hard to untrain the English accent out of him, but what was funny was that when he got drunk, he became very British. Let me rephrase that. very London, very Essex. So he'd be like, "Hello, PJ, how's it going? Drink, 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 drink. Aye, mate, where's the water? I need water. I'm completely hammered." And he was just 211 and be loud, and I mean, because he's also drunk, but it was funny. It was awesome.
All right. Next up is the true debilitating bomb. Prereq is the greater debilitating bomb. Ever inventive, you discover increasingly devastating ways for your bombs to impede and hamper your foes. When you use debilitating bomb, add the following to the list of effects you can choose from. Ooh, I like these. Enfeeble 2, Stupefy 2, or a 15-foot status penalty to speeds. If you instead apply one of the effects listed in debilitating bomb, the target avoids the effect only if the result of its saving throw is a crit success.
So now you can flatfoot someone, and it would only fail if they critically succeed the check to not be flat-footed.
Yeah.
And I'm just saying that because, like, yes, Stupefy 2 and Enfeeble 2 are amazing. If you're fighting a big, beefy boy and you don't care if he's flat-footed because he hits like a truck, throw Enfeeble 2 at him. That's going to change the tide of it. But when you have a rogue who just needs to drop some extra dice, I mean, the fact that you get flat-footed for a round and a half and the only thing they can do to get out of it is crit, that, oh my God, that's so good.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say, I mean, especially if you're a bomb person, okay. Okay, we're almost there. Level 16, Eternal Elixir. I gotta keep it together. Your body readily accepts and retains minor changes. When you drink one of your alchemical items, it has the elixir and infused traits in a duration of 1 minute or more. You can make the elixir's duration indefinite. You can do so only if the elixir's level is half your level or lower. If you later consume a different elixir and make that indefinite, the effect of the previous one ends. Still, though, the fact that you can have it indefinite is insane.
Yup.
Sure, it may be a low-level benefit, but that's a low-level benefit that's basically permanent until you change your mind.
And honestly, they may sound low-level by themselves, but all the previous stuff that you take, they all stack.
And as long as you keep the indefinite and then separate the indefinite from the lessers, the ones that aren't indefinite, this is insane because this to me feels like there should be 17 up. This is 16.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, 18 or up. This is level 16, which means you can do more with this feat. Oh my God. Why don't you do exploitive bomb
exploitive bomb, level 16 feat, it's a free action. Frequency once per round. Trigger, you craft an alchemical bomb using quick alchemy that's at least 2 levels lower than your advanced alchemy level. You mix a substance into the bomb to foil resistances. The bomb reduces any resistance the enemy has to its damage type by the amount equal to your level, but only for that attack. Honestly, not too shabby. This is one of those things where if your enemy has a really high resistance to something, you can lower it down. But I can also see it, honestly, if they don't have any, correct me if I'm wrong, if they don't have the resistance, you could just make them weak to that, right?
That's a good question. I honestly don't know off the top of my head. I know in other editions they've kind of worked on the spectrum of resistance and weakness, but I don't believe that's the case here. I don't believe you create a weakness if you remove a resistance that's not there. But as a GM, I think there's a good argument to be made, and I would probably allow that.
True. This is one of those, feats. I don't know if it would take, probably.
It's definitely useful. I'll say that. It's definitely useful. Malice was making a point about the Eternal Elixir, saying it's a permamutagen. I think so. However, I think as long as you have a spell, if you will, with the elixir and infused traits, you could probably also do the same with, instead of a mutagen, a spell-like effect. So either way, the fact that you're permabuffed until you decide not to be and change it for another permabuff, that's what? Yeah. All right. Genius Mutagen, also level 16 feat that you can choose. Specialized tweaks to your formula that supplements your genius considerably, broaden the benefits you gain from cognitive mutagens. When you're affected by a cognitive mutagen you created, you can also gain the mutagen's item bonus to deception, diplomacy, intimidation, medicine, nature, performance, religion, and survival checks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 skill checks. In addition, you can communicate telepathically with creatures up to 60 feet that you share a language. The communication is two-way once you establish it, so a creature you can contact can also communicate with you. That, sure, it's not a big bada boom, but that's a dummy thick good ability. Holy crap.
Really good utility ability. Really good support.
Yeah.
Our next one is Persistent Mutagen, level 16 feet, prereq, extend elixir. You train your physical form to remain stable within a given altered state. Once per day, when you consume an alchemical item with the infused and mutagen traits, you can retain its effects until the next time you make your daily preparations instead of its normal duration.
Now there's your permamutagen. Now granted, it's still approximately 1 day. However, the fact that the only reason why that's the case is so that you can choose to reactivate that mutagen or a new one is still extremely valid.
Yep.
All right. We're almost there, guys. We're making our way downtown, moving fast. We're homebound. 18th level, Improbable Elixirs. Your mastery of alchemical secrets enables you to replicate effects most believe can be achieved only via magic. Select a number of potions equal to your intelligence modifier minimum 1 of 9th level or lower. 9th level or lower. Think about that. You gain formulas to craft these potions as alchemical items with the elixir trait. When crafting these alchemical elixirs, you gain substitute alchemical reagents for an equal value of magical components, and you can use Alchemist tools instead of any of the required toolkits. Other than that, the formula does not change. Once you've chosen the potion formulas, they cannot be changed. Congratulations, you have now stolen 9th level spells from any caster in the game that you want. Yeah, that you want to.
Yeah.
That you want to. And it's based on your intelligence. So let's say you want to start biting the cleric shtick or start stepping on the toes of the druid. You can. And the only thing you can't copy is their 10th level spell, which makes sense because that's basically divine gift.
Yeah.
This is crazy. If you want to play this as a wizard class and go hardcore wizard, this is the ultimate equalizer for you versus
Honestly,
any caster
it's like
class.
At this point, it is that Arthur C. Clarke quote: "Any advanced enough science is indistinguishable from magic." Essentially, you could be an alchemist with a wizard archetype.
Yeah, and consider the 9th level spells of other classes, such as the Bard. Could you imagine trying to explain the rationality of making a potion that works the same way Weird works? Weird is a crazy powerful spell that affects reality and mind damage and a whole bunch of other things.
Ooh, this is like, oh man, your character's like creating essentially LSD. Like reality affecting LSD. Literal Lucy in the sky with diamonds. There's actual diamonds in the sky at that point. And someone named Lucy flying around.
I almost kind of like this for the roleplay because I would love to hear the BS that this alchemist spews as to how they're explaining with science or even goblin science how they're recreating this magic. Like, that would be a fun...
If I play this character, I would play him as if he's like Shaggy from Scooby-Doo. Like, zoinks, man!
So it's not really magic, it's just stoner logic.
Yeah.
It's like, how did you do this spell? The ocean's a soup. I'm sorry, how is that relative? The ocean's a soup.
Or Raoul Duke from Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, one of my favorite movies. But anyway, Mind Blank Mutagen is next, level 18 feet, with a minor adjustment of ratios in the formula. For your Serene Mutagen, you gain mental protections. When you're affected by a Serene Mutagen, detection, revelation, and scurrying effects of 9th level or lower detect nothing from you or your possessions and auras. For instance, detect magic would still detect other magic in the area, but not any magic on you. This is actually really good, especially in more of a social game, I would say. If you want to be like a sneaky sneak.
Yes. Also, I would put on top of that, this is a narrative fiat ability. So when the GM's like, ha ha ha, the big bad evil guy is watching you, the alchemist can be like, no, they're not. At least they're not looking at me.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm basically immune to detection and spells to detect me, including scrying, which is a huge GM go-to.
Oh yeah.
Hold on. Malice put in the thing. So Orc Logic from Warhammer for the elixirs, I believe that was in reference to, or the Mind Blink mutagen. Yeah, I mean, I think Orc Logic from 40K is basically the best way to explain anything from a fantasy game. How are you doing this? Because me brain says it is. Can't argue with that. And Reap Psyche, it lets you drive a Fiat. Yes, it lets you drive a Fiat. It's actually they're very nice cars, but they're very cheap, so everyone gets one Fiat. All right, that being said, Miracle Worker. Once every 10 minutes. That's the only limitation, once every 10 minutes. Your alchemical mastery can resuscitate the recently slain. You can administer a true elixir of life to creatures who have been dead for no more than 2 rounds. When you do, that creatures immediately return to life with 1 hit point and becomes wounded 1. Now, I believe what that means is that if they already have the wounded feature from being dropped, I think that also stacks with the wounded features as well. I'm guessing, because they don't really go into better language about that. Does that mean that their wounded goes back down to 1? Because if so, that's broken. That's busted at level 18 if you keep dropping and you keep going only to wounded 1. You know what I mean? That means that you basically cannot outright die, only if you completely botch all your recovery checks.
You know what? Drop us a message on our Discord where I just dropped our link. Or if you're watching this on our YouTube channel, hit that put it in the comments section. Let us know what you think.
Yeah, by all means. Malice also just saw the subscription. Thank you so much for the sub, Malice, and also just saw you enter the chat. Looking forward to catching up, and great to see you there. That being said, also, if you all see Trigger Chan in the chat, tell them hello. They sent me a little message going like, I miss everyone, and I feel like when I'm on, they don't say hi. And that's not true, but just reach out and say hi.
Yeah. Next up is Perfect Debilitation. Level 18 feet, you have perfected the formulas for bombs that impede your enemies. When you use Debilitating Bomb, your target avoids the condition the bomb imposes only if it critically succeeds at its saving throw. So yeah, they have to crit succeed to avoid it.
Hold on, when you target avoids it. See, it's just really strange because there's another one. Oh, I see why that. Okay, so you have that true debilitating bomb, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that has the same effect with enfeeble, stupefied, and negative 15 feet. Here's the thing: the perfect debilitation doesn't require true debilitation. So if you decided to take greater merciful elixir instead, you can take perfect debilitation at 18 and get the same effect. Now you get 2 for the price of, well, for 2, but you're not required to get true debilitation bomb. So this still gives you a way to have that awesome crit only success. That is really cool.
Yeah.
It's tricky though. You have to think about it, but the fact that bar just hands it to you.
Yeah, and honestly, on purpose, trying to crit succeed on purpose, oh man, that is really, really tough.
I mean, because the dice decide that, right?
Yeah.
So you're basically only being saved the value of this effect if you roll like an 18 up, 19 up. I'm just doing the dirty crit math on that.
Yeah.
So now, here we are, the level 20. This is... Oh, sorry, I started working out yesterday. Now everything hurts. This is going to be the big thing. Let's see. I'm putting all the pressure on this to be good, so I can laugh at it. Mm-hmm. First one up, craft Philosopher's Stone. Now, if you know the history of the Philosopher's Stone, you know this is a big deal in alchemical lore, fantasy, science, history, blah, blah, blah. And in Pathfinder First Edition, the Philosopher's Stone was a really big resource mitigation for alchemists and what they were doing. So now, Philosopher's Stone in 2.0, level 20 feet. Your research has paid off. culminating in the legendary Philosopher's Stone. You learn the formula for the stone on page 554. To understand why this is important or not, I'm going to 554 right now. And
All right, really quick. Malice
is.
posted it on the last feet. Nope bombs.
That's right. That is the can I save against this bomb? Nope, F you, pay me. Philosopher's Stone. One action, interact 1 or more days. An alchemist with a craft... Let me do this with the right voice. An alchemist with a craft Philosopher's Stone feat can create a Philosopher's Stone once per month by spending 1 batch of infused reagents during their daily preparation using the Advanced Alchemy class feature. This is the only way to create a Philosopher's Stone. At a glance, the Philosopher's Stone appears to be ordinary, a sooty piece of natural rock. Breaking the rock open with a force open action, DC 35, reveals a cavity at the stone's heart. The cavity is lined with a rare type of quicksilver that can transmutate base materials into precious metals or create an elixir of rejuvenation. To use the quicksilver, you must be legendary in crafting and have the alchemical crafting feat. You can use the stone's quicksilver effects for one of 2 things. You can apply the stone's quicksilver to an infused true elixir of life using an interact action. This turns the elixir into a fused elixir of rejuvenation instantaneously. This doesn't require any crafting time or additional materials. Or you can spend up to a month of downtime applying the quicksilver to either to iron or to create silver, or lead to create gold. Treat this as a 20th level task to earn income using crafting, except that you create 500 gold worth of your chosen material per day, or in a success, 750 gold per day as a critical success. I don't know about the money-making aspect of this. I kind of feel like as a player, you're probably making a little less money, but without this massive expense of once a month. But the fact that you can turn an elixir of life into a true elixir of resurrection or rejuvenation is pretty good.
Yeah.
But still, only once a month. I don't know how I feel about that.
This is more of the, oh, cool. This is a really awesome item that I'm probably never going to really use.
Yep, it's one of those shoulda versus coulda.
Yeah.
Like, could you? Yeah, it'd be dope. Should you? I don't know.
Rule of cool. It's a rule of cool, up to GM to decide. Honestly, how useful it is.
Yeah, I kind of feel like at that point, it's while there is a static mechanic benefit of this, I would almost argue this is something that has more narrative impact. I would definitely talk to your GMs like, this has to be a big friggin' deal because this is the pinnacle of my science. I can only do it once a month.
Yeah. All right. Our next one we have here. Ooh, this one, I think we're going to both be really happy with this one because this is definitely the midnight bomber that bombs at midnight. The Mega Bomb. Yeah. Level 20 feet. 1 action. Prereq is Expanded Splash. Prereq, you are holding an infused alchemical bomb you crafted with a level at least 3 lower than your advanced alchemy level. You add an incredibly powerful additive to a hell bomb to create a mega bomb, greatly increasing its area and power. You use an interact action to throw the mega bomb rather than strike, and you don't make an attack roll. The Mega Bomb affects creatures in a 30-foot radius blast centered within 60 feet of you. The bomb deals damage as if each creature were the primary target with a basic reflex save. On a fail save, a creature also takes any extra effects that affect a primary target, such as flat-footed from bottle lightning, while all targets in the area take splash damage as primary targets. There is no further splash beyond that area. If your next action after creating a Mega Bomb isn't an interact action to throw it, the Mega Bomb dentures and loses all effects.
So basically, if I'm reading this right, you are
Denatures.
your denatures. Yeah, the Mega Bomb denatures and loses all the effects. So basically, the Dragon Balls are
It
inert.
fizzles out.
The Dragon Balls are inert. Yeah. So you get 30-foot radius burst centered within 60 feet of you. So you throw the bomb. You don't have to roll to hit. You don't have to do anything. You are basically casting a spell without any effort on that area. And what are the effects of that spell? Basically, a combination of any other bomb and I think elixir, if I'm reading this right. And yeah, it's just a giant AoE of 2 effects going off at once. That's pretty good. I don't know how I feel because like right now I'm like that's good, but you know what? Let's compare this with Perfect Mutagen. It's the last thing in the core rulebook, mind you.
Yeah, because there's one more I will read that's not in the core rulebook because it's just this is oh.
Well, let's save that for last because right now we have Perfect
Yeah.
Mutagen. You have enhanced the formulas of your mutagens, aligning them perfectly to your physiology. When under the effect of a mutagen you crafted, you do not suffer its drawback. This is weird because I feel like this is a really awesome, potent ability, and it should not be 20th level. I feel like this should be 18th or 16th because, like, the fact that this is the pinnacle of your mutagen. Hold on, let me confirm. Okay, I can see why this is good. Still, I don't believe it should be 18th, 20th level. Basically, if you use the ability to combine mutagens on yourself, you suffer no negative penalties for any of the mutagens you're combining, right? So that's really nice because now you can mix and match without having any repercussions. But at level 20, I feel like that it's good, but it should be 18.
Yeah. No, I agree with you there. It's one of those things where, yeah, honestly, at level 20, how you're at the end of your game, and you're not going to have as much use out of it really at that point. Yeah. I mean, you're going to have a lot of use, but you're at the end of your story. You're not going to have as many opportunities to use it until the end of the game.
I guess the problem is, how do you make a level 20 capstone feature for mutagen-based alchemists, right? Because at this point, we've already had the ability to have a mutagen last for a full day, and we have the ability to mix and match 2 mutagens at once. So what do you really do at level 20 to make that gameplay feature ultimate?
Honestly, I have an idea. For me, I would have been like, you know what? There is one ability I don't believe that has been used at all in the Alchemist. It basically turned them into giants, honestly. Make them like attack the 50-foot woman.
Well, I want to say there are mutagens.
Turn them into kaiju.
I want to say there are mutagens and elixirs that already have that effect. Or within the confines of the ability to stack and mix them, you could easily make an elixir of like giant growth as well as a juggernaut thing.
Yeah.
So it does already exist.
Literally, I think a kaiju form for an alchemist with a mutagen would be actually really, really cool.
Let's see here. Malice says lose all negative effects from mutagenesis. Yeah, that's kind of what it says. And don't get me wrong, that's a really good power. But I think it just kind of feels like a level 20 ability, your capstone greatest ability to just not have a negative, feels like it feels a little anticlimactic for level 20. And I'm not saying it's not good. It's very good. But it feels like a level 18 or 16 mutagen.
No, I hear you. Like I said, I'm keep going back to it. I would love a kaiju form for Alchemist with mutagen at this point. That would be a nice level 20 feat.
You know what? I think that would be the way to do it. I think it would be to have like the legendary mutagen, whereby you take whatever your mutagens that you've already been working on, you get to have basically the next, because like here's the thing, your feral mutagen that gives you natural weapons, it doesn't specifically state that they continuously add weapon dice. It only says that you go up 1 dice size.
PJ.
So if you if you're able to create a mutagen that allows you to up your feral mutagen for like multiple dice or have other effects with more potency, that could be kind of nice.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I just realized why I want the Titan form. Mainly for the fact that you can turn big and suplex a Tarask.
Well, I know, like I said, I know there's abilities that give you some height. I don't know if they go that big, but there's definitely abilities like that already.
Yeah, if you could, honestly, capstone ability, suplex a Tarask, that's a great capstone ability right there.
That is pretty dope. I know that there's like elixirs and things that give you form of the dragon.
Yeah.
So you could do that. Malice put it in the chat again, so you can stack mental and physical mutagens. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think this is just kind of like why I'm saying this is like my weird spot on this. Like I'm not saying this is bad. This is absolutely good. But we've already had the ability up to this point to stack 2 mutagens at the same time, to keep those in effect for a day, to have certain bonus effects depending on if we want to go smarty or hardy. So we have all these really awesome mutagen things, and it just feels anticlimactic that the big capstone level 20 is just to remove the innate and negative penalties. I don't know. I love it.
It's like sad trombone. It's sad trombone. Wah, wah.
Yeah, like don't get me wrong, it's going to be amazing to stack. Like
It's useful, but it's like a really cool thing, but it doesn't have the shine.
Well, you know what? Yeah, it's missing that little something extra. Like, because Malice brings up a good point. This is the best use of Juggernaut and cognitive mutagens for that, like, impervious Juggernaut feat at, like, level 8 or 12. So now you can get your full DR from your intelligence. You're getting the full benefits of Juggernaut with absolutely no penalties. That's really good.
Yeah. Anyway, our next and our final one, this one's from the Legends book. It's called, PJ, you're going to love this, The Wish Alchemy.
Oh, no.
Level 20 feet. You have learned, and this is a fancy name, so I'm going to probably butcher and mispronounce it, as I've honestly been mispronouncing a lot of things today. Arcosis Kyrian's most hidden secrets, granting you the ability to create alchemy infused with the power of wishes. Once per day, when you use advanced alchemy during your daily preparations, you can spend a batch of infused regents to create a wish vial containing a single common arcane spell of your choice of 8th level or lower. The spell must have a casting time of no more than 3 actions, no cost, and must be able to target you. Only you can activate the wish vial, which takes the same number of interact actions as with the spell's casting time and grants you the effects of spells. So basically, I'm going to copy any spell level 8 or lower.
Yeah, because I was going to say Improbable Elixirs at level 18 does that with 9th level spells or lower, but I think the big difference here is that you have to craft and make and prepare those 9th level spells from any other caster. This sounds like an 8th level on the spot freebie.
Yep.
That's pretty spicy.
Yeah.
That's
See,
pretty
this
good.
is doesn't this kind of wash the taste of the other one out of your mouth a little bit?
No, I'll say this: they're all really good. The Mega Bomb is really dope. I think I
love
just
Mega
need to
Bomb.
I love it. I think I just need to kind of play with it and see like what I can make with that.
I will say Wish Alchemy I feel is the most useful out of all of them because you have access to the entire arcane spell list of level 8 or lower.
I really like it too because every one of those capstones directly impacts a specific playstyle, right? So like the Mega Bomb is clearly for the bomb players. The mutagen one I've been going over is clear, or Perfect Mutagen is clearly for mutagen players. The Alchemist
Philosopher's Stone.
Thank you. The Philosopher's Stone is nice. It does kind of work with the people that want to craft the items, but nothing really goes into the caster part of the Alchemist. Malice does make a good point. Only if the spell targets you. Yes, that's very true. However, 8th level buff spells are pretty crazy.
Yeah, and also it's 8th level or lower, so any of those spells that can target you. So you have so much options.
Yeah. So yeah, I still really like the perfect mutagen. I think that's just my own thing. I think this is really what it comes down to. There's a big difference between mechanically and physically, right? What sounds good on paper may suffer in execution, and what sounds really weak on paper may be brilliant when you get your hands on it. So I think what I need to do for that mutagen thing is just make a level 20 Alchemist, make him a mutagen player, do some combinations, and then go, oh, okay. I can really see why getting rid of all the negative drawbacks for these mutagens is worthy of a 20 level capstone.
For me, out of all the capstone feats, my favorite so far is Wish Alchemy, but because of the options, I'm always going to be a fan of options because you never know what you're going to come across at your table, honestly.
Yeah.
But if I had to choose from the core rulebook, though, my money's going to be put on Mega Bomb.
Mega Bomb is nice. The damage viability, area of effect, and I think quasi customability of it makes it really good. But there's also something to be said for potentially casting on the fly an 8th level Form of the Dragon spell.
Yeah.
All right, and there you go, everyone. Having a nice, fun deep dive about the Alchemist. That thing is amazing. It is so much flexibility for a caster. Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah,
man.
It was fun, and we discovered seriously how potent it could really, really be.
Yeah, and not to mention that you could do everything. You want to heal and throw bombs? You can not only do one and the other, you can do both at once.
Yeah, armed like a cannon. Anyway,
my
but
gosh.
that it is that time, and yeah.
Yeah.
So.
It is time to say goodbye. And with that, Mr. Michael Powell, please tell us who you are and where we can find you on that sweet, sweet internet.
Well, as always, I'm Michael Powell, and you can find me all over the internet on my social medias, which is usually at Mr. Kapow, that's MrKapao, or my Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Michael Powell Does Stuff, such as my YouTube channel, which is Fantastic Tales of Adventure. And on, I believe, Thursdays at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, I'm on a show called Toyzilla Live on the Toyzilla Network, where we talk about toy news and nostalgia stuff. It's a lot of fun, and let's see, up on my docket, I am about to record a interview with What Did I Just Buy? It's a podcast pre-recorded thing where I'm going to talk about my collection of board games and TTRPGs. I will post a link up on my social medias once it's up, and I believe if you're watching this live, well, I guess you're not watching this live right now since we record our outros afterwards, but I will be on Live Action Roleplay, our friend Ryan Omega's show, doing helping game design a TTRPG based on the Olive Garden. When you're here, you're family. And how about you, PJ?
Well, as you know me, I'm PJ McGaw. I'm everywhere on the internet at pj.mcgaw. Come find me. Let's hang out. Let's be friends. Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok by that name. Come check me out. When I'm not here Tuesdays with Mr. Michael Powell, you can find me here Wednesdays, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, same Nat channel, for the Pathfinder 2nd Edition homebrew show, Edge of Legend. As the heroes progress against the Green Army, they may have just stumbled into one of their 5 generals within the city of Agrippa upon Aubert. And more than that, we have so many other surprises coming down the pike from Nat20 Productions. We have a one-shot, the promised one-shot, Ra's Rave Party, where a bunch of gods get really, really hammered and have fun in the Malibu Hills. And then maybe someone comes and crashes the party. Who can say? That should be happening about February 13th, maybe February 20th. We will give you more details when we hammer them out. But either way, look forward to that one-shot. Also, for International Women's Day, we have an all-female game, femme and female players for the Night Witches of New Jack City, based on the real history of the Night Witches themselves, set in a crazy fantasy world. Do you want to know what happens when an F-16 Tomcat fights a dragon? You're going to learn by watching the Night Witches of New Jack City. Until then, my name is PJ McGaw, and this is Mr. Michael Powell. We're so grateful to have you here, and we'll see you same Nat time, same Nat channel here at the table. Be safe, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.